Hello everyone, welcome you all to ManageEngine Applications Manager free training series. Let's get into the today's schedule. So we are in the final schedule of this first free training series. Today we'll be discussing about multi-cloud infrastructure monitoring. In case if your team members is unable to join this particular session, we have the same session which will happening at today at 11 a.m. EST so that they can join in that particular session as well. Let's get into the today's agenda. The today's agenda, the first topic we'll be discussing about how to track performance across your cloud application. And the second topic we'll be discussing how to gain end-to-end visibility in your serverless application. And in the third topic, we'll be discussing how you can track the critical KPIs across your container orchestration platform. And in the last topic, we'll be discussing how to address the performance issue and improve the efficiency in your cloud environment. In recent days, we could see the technologies are getting boom day by day, and we are starting adapting to the new technologies. As per the Gartner forecast report, we could see there is 94% of enterprise users have started adapting to the cloud technologies. So, as per the current market value, $678 billion has been invested in cloud, and the estimated value in 2025 is around $832 billion. So, why we are moving to cloud? For better scalability, cost saving, and for faster deployment as well. Since we are an organization, enterprise organization users, the cloud is providing the data center across the globe so that you can develop your customers across all the regions in the globe. Now we are going to discuss how the applications manager helps you to monitor your cloud technologies that you are hosted. In Applications Manager, we do support Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Oracle Cloud, Microsoft 365, and Google Cloud. So when I say these are all the monitor types that we do support, we support it as a bundled monitor type. So if we take a Microsoft Azure, we monitor all the top services which are hosted under the Microsoft Azure, and the same applies for the rest of the cloud technologies as well. As you might know, Applications Manager is an agentless monitoring tool to monitor your complete infrastructure devices. So same like that for the cloud application as well. Applications Manager is not using any agent. So Applications Manager uses a certain API to fetch the information from the cloud resources. If we take the Azure, we use the API to fetch the monitors from the Azure monitor, and we just via the metric aggregator, we collect all the data and it will send to the fault management. So in the fault management, we will just analyze all the data which we have collected from the cloud sources like Azure, AWS, or the Oracle Cloud. So we analyze all the data which is being fetched, and we'll just check if there is any critical issues that's going on in your cloud services. If there's any services down or if the service is critical due to high utilization, so those traces will be identified in fault management, and alarm will be raised for the same, and your team will also get notified. And the data which we collected from the cloud resources, it will be sent to the database for the analytics and the reporting purpose. When it comes to the Amazon Web Services, uh, these are all the top services that we do monitor in Applications Manager. If we take compute, we monitor EC2, Lambda, ABS, and in database, we monitor RDS, DynamoDB, and in notification, we monitor SNS, and also we are monitoring the billing under the accounting. So for each and every different services, we use different set of APIs to fetch the information. When it comes to the Amazon Web Services, we fetch the information from Amazon CloudWatch. So via the API request, it will fetch the information and send it to the Applications Manager for the monitoring. When it comes to Azure, in Azure, we monitor around 35 plus services in Applications Manager. And in recent versions, we have released around 20 plus new services, which covers all like most of the databases like Azure MariaDB, Azure MySQL, Azure Postgres, Azure SQL. And also in network, we monitor the Azure Virtual Network, And in storage, we monitor both standard and premium storage account. And in analytics, we monitor Azure Synapse. And in compute, we monitor the Azure Virtual Machine, Azure Functions, and Azure Scale Set. And in the billing, we do monitor the Azure billing to monitor all the billings for the respective services which are hosted under the Azure. So now we'll be discussing how we can discover the Azure in Applications Manager. Since it is an agentless monitoring, we are using three different modes to fetch the Azure information. The first mode we'll be using is AD application and service principal. So here we'll be creating an AD application in Azure portal. And from there, we'll be fetching the client credentials like client ID, tenant ID, client secret, and by which we'll discover the Azure. And in the second mode, that is Azure organization mode. So here, with the help of this, in the Azure organization account, you'll be having if you have the user email ID and credential, with that, we'll fetch the information via the PowerShell script. And in case if you are using a secure environment, we do support the OAuth. So with the help of the OAuth, you can fetch the information from the Azure, and it is based on a rotational token access. And the next component that we are going to discuss is Microsoft 365. In Microsoft 365, we monitor Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, and Microsoft Teams. When it comes to the Microsoft 365 monitor, we proactively monitor all the users and the license of the Office 365, and we monitor the Exchange mail servers and track all the SharePoint sites that are hosted under the SharePoint, so that if any particular site goes down, we'll be getting alarm and we'll get notified. And also with the help of this Office 365 monitoring, you can monitor all the endpoint connectivity, so that if any endpoint connectivity goes down on any particular port, you'll get notified, and the same will be shown in the Applications Manager as well. Let me take you to the Applications Manager. So once you just logged into the Applications Manager, click on New Monitor. So under New Monitor, click on Add New Monitor. So once you just clicked on Add New Monitor, it will list down all the monitor types. In Applications Manager, we do support 150 different types of monitor types, and we are just categorize the monitor types based on its monitor type information. So right now, we are trying to discover the cloud applications. So click on Cloud Apps here. So once you just clicked on Cloud Apps, it will list down all the cloud technologies that we do support here. And right now, if you want to discover the Microsoft Azure, click on Microsoft Azure. And once you just clicked on the Microsoft Azure, it will list down the prerequisite. So before you onboard any monitors into the Applications Manager, kindly follow the prerequisite. So once the prerequisites are done, you can proceed with adding the monitor. So as I mentioned earlier, for discovering the Azure, we are using three different modes. So in case if you are just going in the first mode, that is AD application service principal. So you need to log into the Azure portal. Let me just show you here. So once you just logged into the Azure portal, just go for the Microsoft Entra ID. So this particular Entra ID is nothing but the Active Directory of Azure. So previously it is Azure Active Directory. Now it is called as Entra ID. So once you just enter into the Entra ID, clicked on the app registration. So in this app registration only, we'll be creating an application, that is the AD application, from which we'll be fetching the client details. So click on new registration, and here give a name for your application. So I'm just giving APM prod and click on register. So once this particular AD application is created, you can fetch the client ID, tenant ID, and I'll just show you how. So once you when you click on this AD application, you need to give the client ID, tenant ID, and application key. Application key is nothing but the client secret. So from the Azure portal, just copy this application ID, that is the client ID, the tenant ID, and for creating the client secret, click on Add a certificate or secret. So once you just clicked on this add certificate or a secret, here only we'll be creating the client secret. So this is the application key which we'll be using in the add monitor page. So just give a name for this client secret as well. And here you need to select the expiry time period. So whether uh, you want to reset this client secret for every 90 days or every 1 year. So based on that, you can select the expiry period and click on add. So this particular client secret value will be viewed only during the creation time only. So copy that particular client secret value and add it in the application key. So once you just given all those details, the next step is child monitor discovery. So whether when it comes to the Azure, whether you want to discover all the services that are hosted under that. So when you just click on the Azure services, it will list down all the services that we do support here. So in case if you want to discover all the services, then click on all supported services. In case if you want to monitor only specific services on Azure, you can just select the respective service in the Azure service list. So once you just selected those services here, and you can enable whether discover and unmanage the monitor or discover and monitor. And in case if you want to discover and monitor only a specific services, since if you have multiple services under the, for example, the virtual machine, and you want to discover only few virtual machines for a monitoring, in that case, click on discover and monitor based on regex. So with the help of the regex condition, you can discover only the few virtual machines that you want to monitor. And once you just given those conditions, the next step is click on advanced settings. So once you just clicked on this advanced settings, we have an option. So whenever and resource is deleted on the Azure. So if any virtual machine or any Azure function is deleted on the Azure platform, so what action should the applications manager should take? Whether the applications manager will send an alarm, even though the resource is deleted on the Azure, or in case if you want to stop alarm when the resource is deleted, or you want to unmanage the respective virtual machine when it is deleted from the Azure, or in case if any resources that is deleted on the Azure, and again we want to delete the same in the applications manager, then click on delete resource. And in some cases, if you want to stop a discovery for a particular services, since you want to stop the discovery of the virtual machines, so we have given the options here as well, services to stop discovery. So you can select the respective services to which the discovery needs to be stopped in the next upcoming polling cycles. So once you just given all the details, the Azure will get added. So under the monitors tab, you can see Microsoft Azure. So once clicked on the Microsoft Azure, it will list down all the services that are discovered here. So when you just go to the compute tab, under the compute tab, under Azure application service, it will list down all the applications that have been hosted on the Azure. So it will just show the resource group name, in which location it is deployed, and what is the state of the web app service, whether it is running or stopped. So you can configure alarm for the overall status here as well, so that if any app services goes down, it will be notified in the overview page. And also you can drill down to the each application service and view the respective utilization. So here under the performance tab, you can verify the memory that is allocated for that particular app service and the network usage of that app service, along with the IO operation and throughput. And in the request tab, you can see the number of requests that have passed through that particular application. And also you can see the HTTP status codes and the errors that you are getting on the Azure App Service. So likewise, you can just drill down to each component that I've discovered under the Azure. And when it comes to the virtual machine, so we monitor the CPU of the virtual machines that are deployed on your Azure portal. And we also monitor the memory usage values here. And also you can configure the alarms for all the attributes. The attributes which you are seeing for each and every services, you can set a threshold so that if that particular value violates the threshold, you'll get an alarm will generated in Applications Manager. And also under the disk tab, we monitor the disk usage and the disk operations, and it will also show the disk name along with the disk size. So in case the disk is not available, it will be shown in red here, and the alarm also will be automatically generated. So likewise, you can drill down to the each services in Azure and view the metrics that have been monitored in each and every individual services that have been hosted. And then when it comes to the network tab, under the networks tab, we monitor the application gateways, the connections, DNS zones, and the firewalls as well. So these services are newly added in Applications Manager. So when you just click, if you want to view whether the firewall is active or not in the Azure, you can just click on this firewall service and go to the overview tab, and you can see the firewall health here. And what is the data throughput and processed, the data process. So you can view all the values under this firewall information. So likewise, the same, you can just go to the Amazon Web Service. So I mean, Amazon Web Service as well, we do categorize all the services based on its types. When it comes to compute, you can see the EC2 instance, Lambda, and the Elastic Beanstalk environment as well. And when it comes to the database, we monitor the RDS database. So you can drill down to each database and view the usage of the respective database information. So now let's discuss about the Office 365. So when it comes to the Microsoft Office 365, under the usage tab, we'll just show the complete usage of your Office 365 package. So here it will just show the number of users that have created in the Office 360 Microsoft 365, and also we'll just show the user details based on the services. So in Exchange Online Service, there are currently 34 active users and 52 inactive users. So you can just have the user level information under this usage tab, and also you can view the subscription information, and also the device activation details as well, in how many device this particular Office 365 package is being deployed in Windows, how many, Mac, iOS, and Android. So based on the device types, you can view the count here, and also you can view the active application users here. So like how many users are currently actively using the Word, Excel, or the Teams, or the own notes. So you can view all the complete information under this usage tab. And when you just go to the Exchange Online, so under the Exchange Online, if you just drill down to the that respective Exchange server, here you can view the current health status. So currently the Exchange is up and running, so there is no service degradation. And also in case in past, if you have any service degradation that occurred, it will just show the complete information from start time to the end time, from like due to which the Exchange was down. The complete information will be shown here. And in each services, that is SharePoint or Exchange service, we just show the endpoint connectivity. So whether the port is up and running or not. In case if it is down, you can just configure alarm and you'll get notified. And in mailbox statistics, we'll just show the top mailbox usage here. And here we will list down all the top mailbox here, and also the inactive mailbox. So in case if you want to view the complete information of the inactive mailboxes, we are just given an option show all. So once you just click on show all, it will list down all the inactive mailboxes that are present on your Microsoft 365. And when it comes to the SharePoint Online, here under the sites and application, it will list down all the SharePoint sites that you are deployed. Along with the usage, you can monitor all the parameters which are shown here. In case if a particular site is down, it will be automatically reflected here. And based on a storage usage, you can just sort it down, and you can just fetch the usage of all this SharePoint site which are deployed. And same like that, same like the mailbox, we have given the option show all. Once you just click on show all, it will list down all the SharePoint sites that have been deployed on your Office 365. So let's go to the next topic of the session. So the next topic we are going to discuss about how to gain end-to-end visibility in your serverless application. So when we say like serverless application, so previously we followed two type of architecture for developing an application. So when it comes to the monolithic architecture, so this is an old school approach where in a single application server, multiple application will be hosted. In case if you want to patch a particular application, or if you want to restart a particular application, we might need to restart the complete application server. So in case if you're performing the restart on the application, it will affect the other application that are hosted on the same application server. To overcome this scenario, we are adapted to the microservice architecture where each service will have its own microservice. So each application will have its own microservice so that if anything changes that's performed on a particular application, you can restart the respective application alone through this microservice concept. And nowadays, we are started adapting to use the application with serverless applications. What is serverless application? So when it comes to the serverless application, you know, if in case if you have a code ready with you, you no need to worry about the servers or the other environments that in which particular platform you need to deploy. So you no need to worry about those scenarios. So once you have the code, just go to the Amazon Web Service and go to the AWS Lambda. Here you'll be selecting the respective server and the environment. It will be like a checkbox. You just enable those parameters in which your code needs to be deployed, and you need to just paste the particular code and click on configure. So once you just click on configure, what this serverless application will do here is like it will generate a link finally. So you need to just deploy only the code in the Amazon AWS Lambda. So once you just copy and paste the code, it will generate the application link automatically. So with the help of that link, you can access the access your application anywhere in your organization. So let's see how the AWS Lambda is being monitored in Applications Manager. So when you just discover the Amazon, so AWS Lambda will also discovered, and under the AWS Lambda, you can view all the applications that you have deployed. So the AWS Lambda will be under the compute. So here you can see all the applications. So application is nothing but a functions in a Lambda. So you can view all the functions that you have deployed on the AWS Lambda. So here it will show you all the functions in which runtime that particular function is hosted, and what is the size of the code that you have deployed on the AWS Lambda, and what is the time you set, and what is the last modification time. So we monitor all the information in AWS Lambda. You can drill down to the each functions that you deployed in the Lambda here. And in the overview tab, you can view the invocations, like how many times that your application or the functions is invocation, and also you can see the failed invocations rate as well. And also you can see like the concurrent execution of your functions and what is the provision that you have just allocated for your application. And also you can monitor the durations. The maximum duration of your application and the average and the minimum can be viewed here. And also you can monitor the iteration age as well under this overview tab. And when you just click on the configuration, you can view the complete configuration information of your application that you deployed on the AWS Lambda. Here you can see the allocated memory size and your code size, what is the timeout value you set, and what is the runtime. You're just it is a Java based application, so you're just choosing like the runtime is Java, and you can see the last modification time, and also the other information like subnets and the security groups can be viewed under the configuration type. So with the help of this AWS Lambda monitoring, you can easily find whether your application is up and running or not. And also you can just monitor the complete statistics of like concurrent usage or iteration age. You can just monitor with the help of the applications manager. Let's get on to the next topic. So the third topic that we are going to discuss on the today's session is how to track the critical KPIs across your container orchestration platform. So when it comes to the container-based monitoring and applications manager, we do support the Docker, Kubernetes, and OpenShift. Why container monitoring is important? So container monitoring is like containers are allows your developers to create and deploy application faster and more secure as well. And also the containers takes a less space and easy to scale. So for better efficiency and for a better security, we are adapting to the cloud container based application. And now we can see how the container based monitoring is achieved in Applications Manager. So in Applications Manager, like we do monitor the OpenShift Kubernetes or Docker through the certain method. So for when it comes to the OpenShift, we use the SSH mode of monitoring along with the REST API. So we make a SSH connection towards the OpenShift server, and from there we'll use the OCL command to get executed, and we fetch the informations like node details, pods, containers, services, and jobs. And also here we use the REST API mode as well. So why we are using the REST API mode here is like, since these container based platform will have huge information. So in case we use only the SSH mode of monitoring, it may get timed out. So to fetch all the information, we are using REST API along with SSH as well. So this is the first mode we can discover the OpenShift, and also in recent versions we are supporting the Prometheus integration in Applications Manager. So in Applications Manager you can integrate the Prometheus platform. So once you integrate the Prometheus, you can export the monitors which are deployed on the Prometheus environment. So currently we do support only two monitor types. So one is Tomcat and the other one is OpenShift. So through the exposed API, so in case due to security reasons in your environment, if you're not allowed to use SSH to fetch the OpenShift details, so you can use this Prometheus integration where the information will be collected from the Prometheus through the exposed API. So currently it is applicable only for Tomcat and OpenShift monitoring. So for adding the OpenShift, click on add new monitor. So in the add new monitor under virtualization, you can view the container orchestration platform monitoring like Docker, OpenShift, and Kubernetes. So in case if you want to discover the OpenShift, click on OpenShift monitor here, and you need to give the display name for your identical purpose, and you need to give the cluster hostname or IP. And as I said, like we'll be using the SH mode, and you can use either the credential or the key-based authentication in SSH. And you need to just enable the REST API to fetch all the information from the container platform. And here, once you just given the username and password, we have an option given monitor specific project. Since in the container environment, you'll be you have if you have deployed like more number of projects and you want to monitor only a certain projects in applications manager, you can just filter those projects either by using a condition include or exclude. So in include, if you just give a, like a two or four projects, it will get added. In case when they exclude, if you just give a particular name, so apart from that particular project name, other projects name will get discovered in the Applications Manager. Or once it is discovered, it will be present under the Monitors tab. So under the Monitors tab, click on the OpenShift. So under the OpenShift, when you just navigate to the Projects tab, it will list down all the projects that are deployed on your container platform. So here it will list down all the projects name and what is the status of the project along with the project duration time. And when you just click on the node details, it will list down top 5 nodes based on the CPU and memory as well. And you can view the nodes along with the CPU information and the memory usage here. And in the node pod details, you can view the pod usage count here. So the allocated pod is 40. The currently only 9 pod is being used, and the pod utilization is 22. So you can just monitor these usage and configure the alarms based on, like, in case if the used pod count is reaching above 35, you will get notified, so that you can just remove the pods which are less used. So likewise, you can just monitor those node pod details, and in node details it will tell the node and in which particular what is the host name and in which particular OS it is deployed and what is the type, whether it's a worker node or a active node. It will just show the type here as well along with the creation type. And when you just navigate to the pods details, here it will show all the pod information along with the project's name. So each pod in which particular project it is get assigned on what is a pod type, whether it is a replication or it's a job or it's a controller. So based on the pod type, it will just show you here along with the pod IP and the pod status. So you can just monitor the pod status here as well. In case if it is not running, you will get alarm from the pod details as well. And when it comes to the container, here you will just show the top 5 containers based on the restart count. So based on the number of restart, it will just show here along with all the container details. So here it will just show the container name and the container image in which it is deployed and the pod name and the container status, whether it is completed or running. It will just show here, and also the number of restart. The container restart count also will be shown here. And when it comes to the service, it will list down the services that are running on this particular cluster. So whether what is the service type along with the cluster IP. And when it comes to the jobs, it will just show the job details that have been currently scheduled on this particular OpenShift. So it will just show the project name to which this particular job is assigned and the start time and the completion time as well. So for discovering the OpenShift, so we use the SH mode along, and also we execute the OCL command to fetch the information. And the other platform like Kubernetes, we use the SSH, and we use kubectl command to fetch the node details, pod details from the container platform environment. And now we can see how to integrate the Prometheus in Applications Manager. So once you just log into the Applications Manager, go to Settings tab. So under the Settings tab, under Product Settings, click on Add-on Settings here. So once you just clicked on Add-on Settings, click on Prometheus integration. There will be a plus icon. Just click on Add here. So here, for discovering the OpenShift, this particular Prometheus integration is applicable only for the OpenShift version 4.5 and above. So by default in OpenShift container environment from 4.5 version, this Prometheus will comes under the bundled within the container platform. So you can just use this Prometheus integration for the versions 4.5 of OpenShift. So you need to just give the display name for the Prometheus integration, and you need to just give the host name along with the Prometheus port in which it is running. And here you no need to use the authentication. Here you can just give this the monitor types. So as I said, currently for 2 monitor types only we are supporting this Prometheus integration. One is OpenShift and Tomcat. So select the respective monitor types that you want to discover in Applications Manager. I just selected OpenShift, and here we have a discovery option, whether you want to discover and monitor the OpenShift here, or discover but do not monitor, only discover the monitor here. So we can just choose any one of these options from this discovery options. And also, in case if the monitor is not having any data on the Prometheus itself, so what is the action that you can do in Applications Manager is either you can just mark the monitor as down, or you can just unmanage the monitor or delete the monitor from the Applications Manager when there is no data available on the respective OpenShift monitor in the Prometheus environment. So likewise, you can just you can just integrate the Prometheus integration if you're using the OpenShift version 4.5 and above, so that whenever an OpenShift monitor is added on the Prometheus, it will get discovered in the Applications Manager as well. Let's get to the next topic. So the next topic that we are going to discuss is how to address the performance issues and improve the efficiency in your cloud environment. So, in the previous 3 topics, we have discussed how we can monitor the cloud environment and the container environment and the serverless environment in Applications Manager. Now we are going to discuss a few things like the automate actions that are available in Applications Manager. So when it comes to the cloud environment, not only for the cloud environment, when it comes to the monitoring, so we are monitoring the respective application and a few set of parameters, and whenever if it goes down or threshold is violated, an alarm will get generated, right? So once the alarm is generated, we need to take certain action. So either we need to notify that alarm using any email action or a SMS action, or in case if you have integrated a service displays or service now, and a ticket will be automatically logged to the respective ticketing portal as well. So apart from that, in Applications Manager, we have few uh, automate actions that will helps you to reduce your manual work here. So there are so let's discuss one of the automative action that are available especially for the cloud. So in case yeah, if any particular virtual machine is going down on your Azure platform, or if any EC2 that goes down on your AWS environment. So in case if it is going down, so what applications manager do here is like, instead of expecting a manual effort, applications manager will start that particular virtual machine automatically. So with the help of this automate action, if any virtual machine goes down, applications manager will take care of itself and start the respective virtual machines that are going down in your Azure environment. And this particular automate actions will be available for Azure virtual machine and Amazon EC2 instance, and in the container platform as well. You can restart or start the containers which are no longer used, or in case if it is the memory goes high, if you want to shut down a particular container or virtual machine, you can just associate the action accordingly based on your requirement. And and also when it comes to the cloud, yes, so we need to just make sure, and it is crucial to ensure that we are staying within the cost limit that is allocated by our management. So for each and every services, a cost will be allocated in the cloud platforms. So so applications manager will helps you to track those expense regularly by using the billing information. And this particular billing information will be applicable and monitored for both Azure and AWS environment. And with the help of this, whenever the allocated budget is goes beyond a particular limit, the applications manager will send a notification to you or to your management for the respective services. And when it comes to the threshold configuration, so is there is any particular attribute for which you are confident threshold, you can just configure a static threshold or anomaly profile, so that uh, it will be automatically trigger whenever there is some high utilization, or if a particular service down, or uh, it will just compare with the previous values. Instead of using a static threshold profile, you can just go with the anomaly profile as well, so that it will compare with the previous data and trigger an alert if there is any sudden spike of a memory or a particular it goes high on your cloud environment. So you can use the anomaly profile or the adaptive threshold profile to like whenever the attribute goes beyond the allocated range. And when it comes to the cloud application performance monitoring, so maybe in the second session of this particular training series, our expert has explained regarding the APM Insight. So with the help of the APM Insight, you can just monitor all the transactions that are performed on your application. So that particular APM Insight is applicable for the cloud application as well. So you can just deploy the applications manager, the APM Insight on the AWS Beanstalk. In case if any application running on the AWS Beanstalk, that those applications can be monitored with the help of the APM Insight. Let me just take you to the UI. So first, let's discuss about the automate actions. So when you just click on the actions drop down here on the applications manager UI, it will list down all the actions that we do support in applications manager. So they're starting from the email action, SMS action, or execute program action, or send a trap to a third party tool, or a ticketing action. So in this particular list, you can see an option cloud actions. So when you just click on cloud action, here you can just create this action for either for Azure or Amazon. So when you just click on Amazon, it is applicable for the EC2 instance here. So whenever our EC2 instance goes down, or in case the utilization is high, whether you want to start an instance or stop an instance or restart instance, so you can just choose any one of this action type while creating this cloud action for the Amazon. So once it is created, also we'll just notify after this particular action is executed. So in case if EC2 goes down and the applications manager execute this action and brings back that EC2 instance up. So you want to in the same time, applications manager will send notification to you that this particular EC2 instances are restarted by applications manager. You will get notified whenever this action is get executed. In case while executing the action, if it gets failed, so you will get the failure notification as well through the email that is configured on this email action here. And the same applies to the Azure virtual machine as well. So if a virtual machine is down, you can use the start cloud action, and to automate this particular start action on your virtual machine. And also, if you want to stop or restart, you can choose any one of the type and associate to the respective virtual machine. Here, when it comes to the container platform, you can start, or restart the container, which is deployed on your OpenShift. And here also, so the same like the previous automate actions, you need to select the respective action type and the respective container here to which particular container this action needs to be mapped, so that it will, whenever a container goes down, this action will automatically execute it and start that container. So this is a few automate actions that is available for the, especially for the cloud, the container platform. So now let's discuss about the, the APM Insight. So whenever you want to just deploy APM Insight, it is applicable for the cloud application as well. So when you just click on Add Monitor, so here, if you just click on the Java, here it will list down all the monitors type or the application server type that we do support. And here, when you just check here, it will applicable for the AWS Elastic Bean Search as well. So that you can deploy this APM Insight agent on your AWS Elastic Beanstalk to monitor the complete application performance. So you can just follow the prerequisites, that steps that is given here. So once this particular agent is hooked up, you will be see the respective application here, and you can monitor all the transactions that have been invoked uh, by the respective user. So what it will list on all the transactions that have been um, performed in the application in the real time, and you can just monitor all the transaction. And in case if you want to verify the errors, you can click on the errors and view the respective transaction. And here you can just drill down to each transaction to verify which particular component is getting failed, and it will break down and show by the response time here as well. And also you can view the database queries that have been invoked during the transaction based on its operation. You can click and view those queries. And in the service map, you can view all the components which are used on your application. What is the backend? What is the in case if you're using any third-party integration? So it will list on all the application status here, so that if any application goes down, you can use this service map to view which components getting failed for the communication. So so you can just refer to our training video, which is available in our YouTube. You can view the session 2 videos. So there we have our expert has explained regarding this APM Insight as well. And when it comes to the reporting, so though once we added the monitoring, we are associated the actions. Now the next part is analytics. So in the reporting, you can just drill down to the cloud action. So click on the reports tab on Applications Manager UI. So once you clicked on the reports tab, in the left hand side, you can see the cloud apps. So once you just clicked on the cloud apps, you can select the respective the type or the services for which you want to generate the report. So for example, you want to just generate only the availability report of like Azure App Services, then click on Azure App Service here and click on availability report, availability of cloud apps. So once you just clicked on that particular availability report, it will list down the all the Azure App Services here based on the time period. Also, you can just generate this particular report. If I click last 7 days, it will show the availability report for last 7 days. In case if there is any downtime, it will just show here. So likewise, you can just generate the availability report or a response time report of cloud application. Or in case if you are looking for any specific attribute that you in a particular service. For example, in the EC2 instance, you want to fetch a memory utilization report. So here at the right hand side and the select attribute drop down, you can just click on memory utilization in percentage. So once you just clicked on that, it will list down all the EC2 instances along with the memory usage minimum, maximum, and average. So here you can just generate the report for a custom time period or for a last 7 days or this week report. And in case if you want to drill down, for example, in this particular first monitor, if the maximum the utilization is about 80, you can just click on this action, click on that icon and drill down and check in which particular time the memory has been utilized much. For example, today at 11 a.m., what is the maximum, the minimum usage of your the memory? You can just verify those information as well by clicking on this icon here. So likewise, you can just generate the attribute report for any of the attribute that have been monitored on your cloud application. And we have a ML based reporting, that is a forecast report. So in the forecast report, it is supported for the cloud application as well. In the cloud application, uh, so in, sorry. So let's discuss about the capacity planning report. So in the capacity planning report, uh, this particular report is applicable for the Azure virtual machines. So here, in case if you are having more virtual machine and you want to generate a report and verify like how your virtual machines are being used, whether it is undersized or oversized. So in case if you want to if you want to list in which the virtual machines are oversized nothing but it's overused. For example, um, yeah, if you have allocated 8 GB of memory on a particular virtual machine in which like you have deployed more than 5 applications, and whenever a user is accessing application, the CPU will be constantly at 100%. So those virtual machines are called oversized. Sorry, those virtual machines are called undersized. In case if you have allocated 30 GB of memory and only one application is running, and if any user access the application, the CPU goes till the usage is around 10%. So those virtual machines are called oversized. So likewise, you can just click on those particular undersized virtual machine to fetch the information. So here, once you just clicked on those information, it will list down the reports along with the virtual machines. Just go here under the reports, capacity planning, and here when you just clicked on undersized virtual machine, it will just show here. So currently, this particular virtual machine that is present on the Azure. So this is not undersized, so it is showing in green. So in case if it is undersized, it will show on red as well. So in case if you just click on oversized, so here the CPU is constantly at 100%. So it is marked as undersized. So with help of this report, you can just allocate the memory accordingly based on the respective attribute, whether it is CPU or memory. If it is low, you can generate this report and uh, allocate the memory or the CPU accordingly on the respective virtual machine. So let's have a quick recap of the today's session. So in the today's session, in the first topic, we have discussed how to proactively monitor the AWS or the Azure cloud application. And we have discussed about the critical KPIs monitoring across your container orchestration platform. And in the last topic, we have discussed how to identify the performance bottlenecks using the cloud environment monitoring. That is with the APM Insight. You can just monitor the performance of your cloud application. And with the help of the capacity planning report, you can just generate the virtual machine or the EC2 instance report. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.